Marcus and I learnt the hard way that in Australia, when a woman becomes pregnant, they get put on a wait list to see a paediatrician. So when our boys were born, we were given a strict instruction by the NICU doctors who discharged our boys that we had to see a paediatrician in Australia within 48 hours when we got home. We thought really easy, and so we started this email chain which then sent us down this wild vortex back here in Australia of trying to get in and see a paediatrician. And all we got was no. We could see in 4 months, we can see them in 6 months. It was unbelievable.
Is that because when you first go for a test or anything, when you're first pregnant, you get allocated someone you got months to find someone?
I guess so. I mean, we'll find out. However, in mine and Marcus's network, we exhausted it and we really came to a place of feeling like failure. Oh my gosh, we're lost. Our babies aren't going to be able to see a doctor. We started to panic so much.
We have to go to mum and dad's GP.
Yeah, literally.
Oh no.
So then somehow the world sent us this human being that we've got here today who said, sure, come on in. I'll make some space. Like, bring the boys to me. And it was Dr. Golly who made everything just seem so easy, made me and Marcus's parents feel so seen. And now you deserve to be on the pedestal that I'm putting you on right now because you have made our parenting journey seem so much easier with just being a text away for us. And I know not everyone probably gets that with you, but even just your book, your food chart, like Marcus and I live by everything that you put out there, and you're phenomenal. And you've made us feel like we're parents that can do it since we met you.
Firstly, thank you. That is very, very sweet, but you're wrong. And I got to point it out because
no one wanted to see us.
I didn't.
I was on a wait list.
Knew it.
They were homophobes.
Oh gosh, I'm not going to go there. I didn't do anything that wasn't already within you and Marcus. So I'd love to take the credit for you being great parents, but the truth is that all I did was take away the worry and take away the anxiety, because that is what turns the volume down in your innate parental instinct. And the moment you and Marcus walked through the door, like I can pick them. I saw exactly the kind of parents you want to be, you are, and I knew exactly what was holding you back. And it was very clear that I just had to take the brakes off.
Yeah.
And look what's happened.
Yeah.
You're confident, you're calm, you're in control, and that was always there. I didn't give that to you. It's more that you already had it, and perhaps I just took away the things that were holding you back. So give yourself the credit.
Thank you very much, sir.
So you've seen him and you've heard him. We've got Dr. Golly here. And Dr. Golly, who are you and what do you do?
Such a good question. First up, I'm a father of 3. That's my claim to fame. My kids are so grown up. It's wild. Like, they're not babies anymore. That's a scary, different topic. And then second to that, I'm a pediatrician, and I like to try to spread the word as much as possible. So you'll see me talking on Instagram and TikTok and socials all the time, trying to sort of fight against a lot of old wives' tales or people who are out there making a lot of noise but perhaps not the greatest advice, not backed by science, for example. And that's me. That's what I do.
So what I want to ask you, and this is based off my socials, something that I just organically put up recently, and the response was like split down the middle, 50-50. And as soon as I did, I'm like, we need Golly on the show. So I want you to know, so we were out at dinner, we had the boys watching a tablet, and it was purely for me and Marcus to have our meal in silence, or to be able to just even eat our meal. So the rest of the restaurant didn't have us running over their tables and Bobby Beckett, fucking smashing and flipping tables, right? Doing what he does well. What I want to know though is it wrong or bad for kids to have a tablet or an iPad or a phone at a dinner table? Or like, is that overstating it? Is that
such a great question. And it's like something I feel like we could talk about for hours. Yeah. There are so many opinions, and that's the first thing that bothers me. Like you say, it was split 50-50. I don't understand why people have to have an opinion on this. That is the first thing. But I understand the days in which we live and social media, and everyone loves to give their 2 cents loudly sometimes. There's too much judgment. That's the first thing I'm going to say. You do you, and that's okay. I gave my kids tablets at the table. Like, I don't see anything wrong with it. And I think that everyone's relationship with screens is not quite right. Like, people who are anti-giving screens to kids, I don't think that that is the solution. And I think that can sometimes cause more problems. Like, schools use screens for teaching, for education. So if your child has never seen a screen, has never used a keyboard, does not know how to navigate a computer, they're going to be behind in the current day and age.
Right.
So you can see how sometimes being too restrictive can become a problem. Now, on the flip side, using a screen as a babysitter is not what we want to be doing. But using a screen intermittently and using a screen especially for the right reasons. So I say, people sit in my room all the time and say, is it okay that my child watches an episode of Bluey?
Yep.
And my answer is completely fine. Completely fine.
Yeah.
You were worried then, weren't
No,
you?
but I'm like, we love Bluey. Of course. I'm like, I can't see you saying no.
It's how you watch Bluey.
Sure.
So it shouldn't
20 episodes back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that you just throw a tablet at your child and they watch Bluey while you're doing something else. It can be that you sit and watch with them.
Okay.
And you pause and you say, hey, how would you feel if you were Bingo and you saw that? Or what do you think Bluey should say now?
Oh,
or
cool.
That kind of thing. Has that ever happened to you? Like, ask questions, pause, interact, and all of a sudden you've turned something from a screen that is built for entertainment into a point of education. Yeah, exactly. Right. So screen time can be really healthy depending on how you use it and how you police it as well. Now, at a restaurant, there are so many ways, and I've got 100 tips to give you about how to navigate going to a restaurant with a kid.
Okay, great.
But if you're using a tablet, I don't see anything wrong with that depending on how you use it.
Okay.
So if they're sitting there flicking through YouTube shorts with inappropriate content, no. No. Yep. Okay. If they're watching...
Don't let 2-year-olds watch Luke and Sassy's shorts.
Definitely not.
That's what you've heard here
Made
from
for
a
kids.
pediatrician.
No, I do too.
Lots of bleep, Yeah. So that's the first thing. The next thing is bring some headphones. So you talk about, like, we don't want the kids running over everyone else at the restaurant. You also don't want this loud yelling noise that's going to disturb other people. So
his name's
headphones. You're going to take that?
Mate, it's the least of my worries at the moment. It really is.
Should bring headphones for all the other people.
Silent disco at a silent restaurant.
They can wear it in the house too, I suppose.
So that's like, those are simple measures you can do to, because this comes from a really beautiful place. This is not you and Marcus going to a restaurant thinking, we just want to shut these annoying kids up so that we can have a good meal and a glass of wine. That's not what you're doing. No. You're doing it to try and engage in life, in society, go to a restaurant, show your kids that there's life outside of our kitchen table, but at the same time, not impose on other people's desire to have a quiet meal with their family and friends. The last thing we want
is people then looking at you going, keep your kids quiet. Why are they not sitting down and still for the whole time? And you're like,
so
what
it comes from a good place.
Yes.
So you're doing the right thing. So that's my first comment, is that the whole judgment attacking what you were doing, like, maybe take a step back and look at the bigger picture and what your intention. The intention behind it is the most important thing. Yeah. So your intention was completely pure.
The public service announcement that I have is there was a demographic that were very common in my DMs about it.
Yeah.
And they were all saying, good on you, Scott, because I think they misunderstood that I was saying I am for tablets at the table. And they were like, good on you, Scott. It's nice to see you pushing back against what every other lazy parent's doing. And they said, because we didn't give our kids tablets, we gave them colouring in books. And I was like, Carol, you didn't fucking have tablets when Jonathan was 2, who's now 40. Like, it was just fascinating. I was like, your colouring in book is somewhat what our tablet is.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. It's a different look, and they're both okay. But again, the judgment is what needs to change here. That's my bottom line. But look, if you're after some extra things to do.
Yes, please.
Just practical things. You're going to a restaurant. You know the restaurant you're going to. So the day before, look up the menu.
Yep.
Before you sit down, order the kids' food.
Already have it ordered.
Yeah, have it ordered
it in.
because that's probably the hardest bit.
Yeah, the
is
wait.
the waiting. Kids don't want to wait.
Get the chips.
You're probably going to go to a restaurant later than their normal dinner time, which means they're hungry, then they're hangry, and then the food comes and it's not exactly the way you make it at home, so it might not be so, there's a few little contingencies you have to think of, but just order as soon as you arrive because you know exactly what it is, and the sooner you can get their food coming, probably the more calm they're going to be.
Okay, that's a great
All right.
tip. That's a good one.
Be very clear as well before you go with your kids what is and what is not acceptable, because you might have certain things that are fine to do at home, like put your feet on the table, but we don't do that at a restaurant, and that's okay. And it's not like a nasty thing. It's, dress it up as something fun. We call it social stories with children, where if you talk through the process, or even better, if you show them photos.
Yep.
So show them photos of what the restaurant looks like, where they might be sitting. We use this, for example, for going to the dentist. Really scary for some kids to go to the dentist. So what we do is we make social stories about it so that they have talked about this story, or maybe even you're printing out and make a little book at home.
Yeah.
So you can show the car park of the dentist. You can show the waiting room, the lady who's going to check us in, the room we're going to sit in, the chair we're going to sit on, the way the dentist puts a mask on their face. So they have seen all of this before, so that when they do it the first time, it's the 10th time they've done it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're going to a restaurant, you know what the restaurant looks like, you know what the street looks like. Just get it up on Google Views and print a few photos, show them so that they're totally familiar. And then it's not new. It's not confronting. It's not scary. Make sense?
Yeah.
Beyond that, use some sort of hook, use a motivator. Okay, if you do this and this and this, then maybe we'll go for ice cream afterwards, whatever it may be. Okay, don't act like dessert is a guaranteed. Okay, it's a quid pro quo. Okay, then be very clear about what happens if they don't behave nicely, or if they do something that you've told them is a don't. Okay, so that's...
You're walking home.
There you go. There you go. Or make them drive. No. It just reduces the chances of them playing up. And also, really importantly, if you do need to discipline them or withdraw a privilege or whatever you may be doing, don't do it in front of everyone.
Yeah, right.
It's so embarrassing for kids. Take them outside. And what that does also, it extracts them from that potentially stressful environment. It extracts you from it too. And we've got to remember that when our kids are heightened, we are heightened. And then if you escalate, everything just climbs up and it just doesn't end well, okay, especially in public. The restaurant choice is really important. I mean, don't go to Francois. It's going to be stressful, is it not?
It's so true.
Francois
of Melbourne French institution.
And
the people in there do not want.
They don't. I mean,
children.
I feel like they don't want me in there, and I'm pretty well behaved, I think. That. I feel guilty every time I walk in, but I love it so much I can't stop. So you've got to choose a place that's going to have a kids menu that can make adjustments to menus that, it's not fine dining and really confronting.
Sure.
You're not going to enjoy that.
Go to the pub or the fish and chip shop.
Even better.
Nando's.
I love Nando's. Then take your tablet, your entertainment, whatever it is that you want, and always take headphones as well. And then don't pretend like this is the same as what happens when you go out for dinner. So you go out for dinner, it might be a 3-hour degustation. You might stay for a while. You might have something to eat. That's not what kids want to do. Their attention span is so much shorter. So go in there with the right expectation, and then you're not going to fail. And you're not going to fail your kids as well. The next thing is don't give them too much choice, okay? A menu for a kid is overwhelming.
It is for me.
Totally. Just sit down and say, do you want the spaghetti or do you want the pizza? Two options. They feel like they're in charge. They've got a la carte thinking, but you know that you're just, containing it. And then movement. So once you've made your order, don't sit down. You want them to sit when they eat. So go for a walk.
Yeah.
Go have a look at the kitchen. Do you know what I love doing? I love going with permission to go watch the cooks work. The kids love it.
Yeah.
They're making pizza and they're frying things and they're chopping fast. Kids think it's amazing because that stuff is not happening in the kitchen with me. So it's really cool. It is really cool for them.
This is great advice.
I know, isn't it? It's really good.
And then the other fun thing you can do is pretend, a few nights beforehand, make restaurant restaurant sass at home, okay? Put a tablecloth on the kitchen table where they always eat and set it up and pretend like you're the waiter and, hello.
That's so fun.
Hello.
So
Bobby,
then they're looking
Bobby
forward to
Beckett,
it
what can I
happening.
get you? Bobby Beckett, would you like still or sparkling? You
I'm
know, just
going to do that.
It's fun.
That really is.
And then it's not, again, it's like a social story. It's not new for them. They've been to a restaurant before. They know how to speak to the, can I tell you another thing which I've just started doing, which I love, better for older kids? I have started to make my kids order for the table.
Oh.
So the 5 of us will put our order in to one of the kids, and that kid, my kids are 9, 11 and 13, is the nominated orderer, and they will deliver the whole order to the waiter. It's
That's
just a
such
nice
a
sort of
skill. To
it
get
is
at
a
a
skill.
young age. It's
I
almost
think
like
so.
your first like part-time casual job. It's like
I think it's cool, and they get confident. They ask for changes, and then I don't know.
Yeah,
I would
right.
have freaked out back in the day.
That gives such communication,
Yeah.
interaction. There's so much attached to that. Bobby Becker would just be like, meat. Perfect. He just meat. Everything's meat at the moment. And then hang on, broccolini.
Oh, maybe he would do well in Francois.
Yeah, actually.
Wow.
There you go. Coming into flu season or winter anywhere around the world, not just Melbourne, it seems like, every kid's starts getting the runny nose and it doesn't stop for months. Is there a realistic way to stopping kids from catching colds or flus? What we shouldn't be doing?
Stopping, no. That's just an inevitability. And I think the best way to approach it as parents is to have the right expectation and to know what is normal and what's not normal. And then you can know when to worry. So if your child, for example, is a 3-year-old in daycare, just like strap in. You know it's going to happen. So don't be alarmed when your child, the other thing is know what's going to happen. So we obviously know about things like gastro, the dreaded gastro bug, but also what's most common is a viral upper respiratory tract infection, otherwise known as a cold.
Yep.
So what is a cold for a 2-year-old? It's like a week of symptoms, fevers, being off your food, that kind of thing, of variable severity, of course. And cough, and then you get better. And the common thing in a 2 or 3-year-old is what we call a post-infectious cough, meaning that you have your week-long illness and then you have a lingering cough for up to 3 weeks in a child who's completely well. So they look good, they are eating, they're drinking, they're playing, full energy, sleeping well, everything's great, no paracetamol, ibuprofen, nothing, but they have this horrible sounding cough. And they're not sick and they're not contagious, they just have a cough. So if you think about it, you've got 1 week of sickness followed by 3 weeks of cough. That's 4 weeks of sounding terrible.
Yep.
Yeah. The normal incidence of upper respiratory viral infection in a child who attends daycare is 12 in a year. That's 1 a month.
Oh.
So if you think about it, when you finish your post-infectious
Start the
cough,
next.
you get your next one. So I
And
remember.
that's if you're lucky, right? And
Correct.
not throwing a whole lot of other things at it.
Yes. So I remember my son had a cough for like 2 years straight,
Right, okay.
runny nose, cough, and was intermittently completely well.
Yeah, okay. But
So parents do often report and they feel like their child is sick all the time. What you need to do is you need to break it down between sick and just post-infectious period. So
Okay.
know what's normal,
Yeah.
and then you know when all of a sudden it's too much, and also you know what to expect.
Okay.
We always hear people talking about building up their immune system. What truth is there to exposing your kids to being sick at a young age? Is there truth to that, or is it no truth and you've got to separate your kids from sickness?
There is no truth to it. I think it's probably something that people tell themselves when they don't want to feel guilty about sending their child to daycare, maybe,
Thank you
or
for
if they don't have a choice. I don't know. Again, it comes back to that same comment from before. There's too much judgment and people feel the need to defend and explain why they make certain choices. I don't believe in any of that. I just believe in science and telling you what's fact, what's fiction, what's myth, and what's just hyperbole. So in terms of immune boosting, the number one thing is sleep. There is no question. The better your child's baseline sleep, the more they're able to have a strong immune system that responds quickly and then gets rid of bugs accordingly. So get sleep on track. The next thing is diet. So it's kind of like the fundamentals of health for anyone are important for children. Then when it comes to Which child actually, oh, and by the way, they don't need vitamins and they don't need supplements. And if there is a significant,
probiotics.
No, and if they need a,
No.
if they need, if they're very restricted in their diet for whatever reason, if they have autism or whatever it may be, then yes, perhaps we might do a blood test and check that they have adequate iron and vitamin D and all the necessary things, and we can supplement them. But the vast majority of the time, kids don't need. They don't need multivitamins. All it does is give them expensive urine, and it's a waste of time. You use them, don't you?
Love my vitamins. Not on the kids, on me.
Yeah, I use vitamins as well because I'm an old man. But kids are really
No, we don't use them on them. No.
Don't need to.
They eat meat and broccolini.
They're amazing. So that would be my focus, is just trying to make sure they're sleeping well. And in terms of exposure, building immunity, yes. But at the same time, you don't necessarily need to build immunity. So it's not like children who don't go to daycare rock up on day one of kinder and just suddenly get terribly sick, because illness has got to do with context. And that's the thing that people have to understand. So bugs live on the floor because of gravity. And if you live on the floor, you're going to catch them. And we don't sit on the floor in primary school. We sit on chairs. And we're also much better at knowing to wash our hands.
Hygiene. Right.
We don't put toys in our mouths all the time.
I'm chewing on my hands and touching things.
I wouldn't share a chair with him if
I'm regretting this decision.
You would have great immunity.
You are always sick though compared to me.
I do, yeah.
Well, also, if you're a parent of toddlers,
Thank
you're
you.
catching
Prior.
everything. Oh, prior.
Thank you.
So, yeah, it's all about hand hygiene and it's all about where bugs live.
Okay.
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned it at the start. Old wives' tales. There's a lot of them. And this, I think I'm really fortunate of having a profile online as a dad, because a lot of people share things with me and you just go, oh my gosh, it's wild. And just people can be so adamant.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, if you do this, this is what's going to happen. And it's fascinating to me. And in your book, I have to apologize. I find that every time something happens to the boys, Marcus and I are like, where's Golly's book? And then we read it and we're like, oh my God, had we have just read this, you would have been like in a better position with the boys.
Read it before you need it.
Read it before.
So we want to hear.
Here, what are some of the old wives' tales
Yes.
that you can put to bed today?
Specifically about illness, there's this really old one about breaking fevers. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
So it used to be thought that when someone gets a fever and they're hot, their temperature goes up, you need to push it higher to break it for it to come down. I can't even explain the origin of this. It is so bizarre and it is absolutely not true. Then there's kind of the flip side old wives' tale. There must have been warring wives that you have to cool them.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So then we see parents who sometimes overheat their children who are sick, cook them. Then we see some parents who cool their children when they've got a fever,
So uncomfortable
so that
too.
they become hypothermic, like genuinely sick, and everything in between. The bottom line is, if your child's got a fever, they feel uncomfortable. Your job as the parent, if you're thinking about medication for your child or anything to try to make your entire focus has to be their comfort, not the number. You don't treat the number. Okay? If they are hot and sweaty and they feel more comfortable when you put a cool, wet towel on their forehead or the back of their neck and they feel better, great. But if you put it on and they absolutely hate it, don't keep it there.
Take it off.
It's all about comfort.
Yeah, okay.
And if you're going to give we talk about paracetamol or ibuprofen as fever-reducing medicines, they should be just called comfort-inducing medicines.
Okay.
They're for pain, they're for fever. They're just there to make your child more comfortable. That's it. You can't go wrong.
We really stuffed up early days with the boys who, again, you called them unicorns to us, which we really loved. But we early days would be like, okay, we've got to give them drugs, right? Whenever they needed it. So now they're so outspoken, especially Bobby Beckett. He knows and he'll go, drugs, and open his mouth. And we realised it when we were out of the home one day and we're like, oh God. So we're like, no, it's Panadol. Why are you saying that, mate? And he just had his mouth open going, drugs. And we're like, oh no.
Look, in some ways it's good that they have an association between feeling unwell and knowing that
knowing
something
that they
makes them
need it.
feel
Yeah,
better. But if you're walking down like an
language.
alley
Yeah. Correct. And my kids screaming, drugs.
teach a different word.
So we're aware of that. So now we're trying to change the vocabulary there.
Now, Dr. Golly, you've written a book. What were some important things that you had to put in the book, or how you wrote the book that can get your message across to new parents or parents that are just worried out there in the world?
So the most recent book is all about sneezes, wheezes, common diseases. And the rationale behind it was it's like family illness guide for parents, because I get a lot of text messages, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So there's no problem with it, right? I'm happy for friends and family to text me. It's fine. And the thing is, if someone texts me and it takes me 4 seconds to respond and it gives them a huge dose of calm and the ability to sleep through the night or not spend 8 hours in an emergency room at 2 a.m, like that's 4 seconds very well spent. So I'm very happy to do that. And I used to get comments from my friends saying, what would I do if I didn't have a pediatrician in my pocket? Like it's so handy. I feel bad for those people who don't. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create that resource that you can just put on the shelf. And it's not like you need to have a degree to understand the information. As you've seen, lots of pictures, lots of diagrams, really simple, easy to digest, layman terminology.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't just talk about rashes. I put a photo of the rash that I'm talking about. So you know exactly when I say vesicles, you know what I'm talking about, as opposed to just black text on white paper using a different language completely. So it's quick reference. So you can just go to the back and say, these are my kids' symptoms. It's not a diagnostic tool and it's not meant to replace medical advice. It's what you basically as a parent, you always have to decide. You have to triage and you have to decide, is this something that can wait until morning or do I need to get my child seen sooner? And this book is trying to do that. And then for things that are not as urgent or serious, the book is then meant to give you a little bit of advice about how to manage things at home, like hydration, comfort, things like that, what to do after gastro passes. You know, people, you know, the GP or the emergency doctor will say, you're all good, you can go home, and then you're the ones taking the kid home. But you need to know that every child after a bout of gastro has got a transient lactose intolerance. So don't give them too much dairy. So it's those little nuggets that I'm hoping to replace the old wives' tales that will help. And also knowing things like, how long do I keep my kid out of daycare when they've got hand, foot, and mouth? And,
Sure.
you know, do I need to make a comment because that child has been sent, but I know that they had measles? So knowing exclusion timelines and all these things, it's all really accessible, easy to read, easy to flick back and find. And that's the whole premise behind it.
You're a doctor. You're a pediatrician. Where did you find the time to write a book like that or write these books?
Look, it's my day job, so I'm doing it all the time. And what always frustrated me as a pediatrician was that I could reach an audience of one. And then the next patient comes in and there's another one. That's why I got into this space of social media. When I started in this space about 5 years ago, it was very taboo for doctors to be playing here. And now, thankfully, there's more and more and more. And it's happening all over the world that doctors and dentists and vets and nurses and speech pathologists are all having a social media presence because that's what we need.
Yeah.
We need that good evidence-based advice from professionals as opposed to a parent who might have
Opinions
had great
from parents.
opinion, but you know that parent's had 1 or 2 children. So you said before, this parent will swear by an old wives' tale, and that's because it probably worked for them.
Yeah.
So they swear by it because they've got N equals 1.
Yeah, right.
You've just touched on who to get advice on. I want to end on your thoughts then on parents who are relying on AI for medical advice. What's your
Really
thoughts
interesting.
there?
Oh, this is fascinating. So AI is incredible and it's something that I use every day. I don't use it particularly well. I just use it as a quicker search engine. But it's here to stay. So adapt or be left behind. And I mean, I'm an inherent optimist. I choose to see the positives in things. So I will now have patients who come to me, parents who come to me and present their AI findings or present their AI diagnosis and management, and they'll sort of compare it to mine and say, well, this says this, why do you say that? The one thing that AI doesn't have, and I don't know if it ever will, is context and perspective.
And environment.
And pediatrics and health in general is so nuanced. You know, there's so much subtext and there's so, I call them subtitles. So when a baby is making a noise, there is a subtitle. That's what I want to teach parents, how to read those subtitles. Okay. Yeah. And with parents as well, you know, I can have a parent who comes in and tells me something, but I sense something completely different. We call it a gestalt feel or your gut feel, that your instinct. AI cannot have that. And so I don't think it will ever replace doctors. I think it can be used as an adjunct. It can be used as a helpful additional tool. And I don't begrudge parents for using it and asking advice. And I do think it's a bit dangerous when parents are uploading pictures of rashes and things like that. And just from the point of view of context again, right? So, you know, for example, I had a baby born just yesterday who had a rash that would scare anyone. Okay. It was terrifying. This baby was an hour old. And I was called in, had a look at the baby, completely fine. It's not concerning at all, completely benign, right? Now, out of interest, I put that photo into AI and said, what do you think? And it gave me some real, like it catastrophized big time. And that is dangerous. Yeah, and that's going to drive parents wild. My whole MO is to try to turn the temperature down and try to be some sort of anxiolytic for parents. So anything that does the opposite, I'm inherently, you know, cautious of, and I tell parents to be cautious of. So use it as an adjunct, but don't rely on it too much because it doesn't know sort of where to pitch the answer exactly.
That's why you're our pediatrician, and I'm very lucky and very fortunate to have you in our world and our life, and now on our show. Thank you so much for coming.
Such a pleasure.
I can't believe it took this long to make it happen.
I saw a code before, Scott. What was that?
It was Sassy AF 20. There you go. And you can get $20 off any of your courses.
Yeah, whether it's sleep courses or it's family illness or toddler behavior, lots of different things. Choose anything.
And we'll get you back again because, I mean, now that I'm out of, I feel like the darkness of like the depths of parenthood.
You mean the beautiful phase of newborn.
But it all is, and it all has been, but it's like, I think I just have a bit more of a bandwidth.
And having you here, Scott gets 100% off a course.
Very good. And we'll talk about all those other things, you know, sleep, because I think it is so important. I know a lot of our listeners are mums as well. So if we can share some of your gift to them, that'd be great.
Be a pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Golly, for coming in and chatting to us.
So much fun.
It really was.
Luke and Sassy. Scott.
So Luke and I think it's really important that when you go to somebody's house, you say, thanks for having us. So we would like to say a big thank you to the Wurundjeri, Woi Wurrung and Bunurong peoples of the southeastern Kulin Nation, the land on which this podcast is recorded on.
Always was, always will be Aboriginal land.